What's up? See what happens. All right. Things were moving a little slowly from the announcement, so I don't think we have everybody in here that's going to be in here, so we appreciate you all's patience. Thank you for showing up early and on time. So this is our second year. Really like the panel, we're just kind of here to guide the discussion. We want this thing to be very organic. We're all in this thing together. We're here to educate each other. So the discussion's it's not like a really rigid format. So we'll just start off by introducing everybody on the panel. We're going to bring up some subject matter. Different people are going to chime in on it. Anytime that anyone out there has a comment or a question, please feel free. We'll go ahead and organically run you all in and let you put in your 2, 3, 5 cents worth. So I'm Will Menzies. I was part of the Flow magazine with Maureen over there. Favorite partner in the whole wide world. Also do American Helix. Still trying to blow my own glass every once in a while. Been doing it for about 23 years. Started off in the Snodgrass camp. So we'll start all the way over. Just let everybody introduce themselves and then we'll get going.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Christian Gasmiri. I go by Chocolate Glass. I blow glass in Portland, Maine, and some of you might know me as the X-Man.
Nice.
Waldo from Waldo's Winners. I'm a distributor for 10 years, owned a glass shop for 5 years, and
He's a beast.
just try to kick ass with classic.
He's a beast. How many miles did you drive in 2018?
58,000, 42 states. 2017, and we're all 50.
And I'm Eli Mazzei, the shot glass maker, and I wrote a book and done a few videos, and I love to kind of check out the history of glass, and I do a lot of researching on, and do a lot of media kind of stuff. I found out that doing that kind of stuff would elevate my glass career a little bit instead of just what I made on the torch, and that's kind of what I'm here for today.
I'm Zach Waiter. I'm with Stowe Smoke Shop in Connecticut. We're just a pretty active shop. We're passionate about what we do, kind of hit all ends of the market, so I believe that's why we're up here talking.
Support American glass blowers?
Yeah, absolutely.
All that.
Host a lot of events, things of that nature.
I'm Charlie Robbins. I'm the other owner of Stoke in Connecticut. I've been in our shop for about 5 or 6 years now. We just opened a studio this year, so check out the website. We all do classes and events and stuff all the time, so I'm up there. Thank you.
All right, so as we are all aware, the industry has gone through some growing pains in the last 2 to 3 years, or maybe there are pains for everyone, maybe positive experiences also, but definitely the landscape has shifted, and that's kind of what this talk is supposed to be about, so that we can all kind of stay on top of trends and being our best selves as artisans and glass blowers. And somebody that should have turned their phone off before you came up here. I'm sorry. I can't talk. I'll talk later.
Stay responsible.
Okay. All right. Do not disturb is on. I apologize, everyone, for my rudeness. So, we got some subject matters over here. We got them listed out in a reasonable order. So I'll just read off the topic, and then we'll start chiming in, and I hope that we hear from you all as well. So, reaching out of your area that you live in for sales, and not relying on just your local smoke shops. How's it doing that? I swear I turned it off. Okay. Power off. Okay.
That's not responsible.
So this was brought up by Waldo because obviously, him traveling and focusing on nothing but sales for other glass blowers, allowing them to stay home and be creative and do their thing is kind of his wheelhouse. So if you want to start this one off, sir.
You know, I mean, there's a lot to be said about how people started this glass industry in going to festivals, meeting their clients, and reaching out, and you know, kind of enjoying their travels. And you know, I feel like that's what we need to get back to. It's very easy for people to plan a vacation, pick a destination, find out who lives in between as a glass blower, do some collabs, sell to some shops. There's so many avenues out there nowadays that I cannot even keep up with how many shops hit me up throughout the year. Like, I know there's so many new shops growing up in new areas. Try to stay local with that shop. If you pick a shop in an area, stay with that one shop. Don't hit every shop in town. Give them exclusivity. Hit them up, you know, shout them out on Instagram. It helps so much. Like, people want to feel special, you know, as a shop owner, and that it really remains true if you just kind of pick one or two in town outside of the area, not local, not beside each other. I think that's very, very important.
Well, I'm just traveling to your shop. I mean, how many people here have experienced, like, I know somebody will call in for us and we'll get like a $600 order, a $500 order, something to that effect. But if we drive to them and we're actually pressing the flesh and getting to know these people, then all of a sudden it's a $1,200 or $1,500 or a $2,000 sale, because we're actually breaking the wares out in front of them. We're getting to, you know, say why we believe in our glass and these designs. So just getting out there and being personal is the thing that's going to connect you above the 450,000 fuckers that call them every month, you know? I mean, because, do we have any shop owners in here? Is this all artists? Do we have any shop owners? One? Okay, yeah, so like, you know, versus 3 years ago versus today, like how many vendors you have calling you? Like it.
Most of the people know that I'm a glass blower and distributor too, so.
Okay. But I mean, it's become very challenging in the number of vendors nowadays, you know? Yeah, it's at least quadrupled. So people, I mean, they just don't have time for it, but you know, if they have time to meet you for an hour and a half.
Right. We're almost much more apt to buy stuff when we can put our hands on it and look at it, make a connection with the artist, have them through our shop, you know, give them a t-shirt, brake mat, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
And now, how many people, if I may ask, like how many people here, is there anybody here that chooses just to sell directly to the consumer? Okay, so everybody here is, thank you. Well, what I would say on that is that, like, you know, there's ways to do that and still be respectful. Because when you're selling the same shit online that you're selling to a shop, that's a short road.
One-offs,
Yeah.
pendants, shot glasses.
Different lines besides what you're selling to the shops. You know, develop something that you want to market to the person, and then have another line that you market in a wholesale level. And sometimes it might be a price point thing that makes that decision for you. Like, I'm not going to make enough money keystoning this to a shop, you know? So therefore I need to approach, I want to make these, I want to develop this technique, but in order for me to do that, I need to sell it direct so I can make that little extra Skrilla to make this design worth it, you know? Be thoughtful.
Yeah, and like when I go to a shop, I want to not waste their time, so I show up with a wide selection of stuff, because they'll look at my Instagram and they'll be like, hey, I like your stuff, and I'm like, what of my stuff? Which one? And I went to like ice cube, because it's actually like different types of buyers, collectors who buy that stuff. So if someone comes into the shop and says, I like these chocolate ice cubes, and then they hit me up and they say, hey, I like your work, something's lost there. And so I show up with a little bit of everything in case that was the thing they were talking about, you know? I don't want to waste their time by having one pendant, you know, and then a bunch of really expensive rings. It's like, that's not really giving them a lot of opportunity to make money, so.
Yeah, it's like that one piece, unless it's like truly special, like a design piece, it ends up being the redheaded stepchild. Like for some reason, there's this resistance from the buyer to
Yeah, you need
that's
a family.
the case. You need a family.
Yeah, you don't want orphans, right?
Yeah.
You don't want them to buy your one, like, oh, I'll take one of your production pieces, or no, take 3 of them so that people can see that this is a thing. It's not just this one-off, you know, because families get adopted and orphans get orphans, so.
That's it. And now, if you have enough product, I know not everybody does, but if you find yourself with the opportunity, one thing that we used to do, we used to break it down into A groups and B groups. So we would go out with this product line on this sales run, and then 5 to 6 weeks later, they'll recycle this other. So we're not hitting them twice in a row with the same product line, so it's fresh, and they have a longer opportunity, and that way we can also decrease the time in between visits. Like if we were to hit you all up, we kept hitting you up with the same cases, you're not gonna see us every month, you're not gonna see us every 6 weeks. But if we broke that up into 2 groups, now it might be a little more viable for you to see us that often.
Yeah, that's pretty refreshing.
Well, I was hungry, you know? Yeah.
It's really a lot. Like when I go on the Oregon coast, I sell a lot of glass, and I'll bring them whales one month, and then I bring them mermaids one month, and then I bring them little frogs one month, and then I bring them something else the next month. And so it's those kind of things that really keep you excited.
Mhm.
Like, wow, gee, what's he bringing?
What's he bringing now?
So yeah, definitely something that you to capture in your artwork, so that you can kind of create your own world. But being unique is what we see, bizarre is what we are. That's kind of what we want to portray as an artist.
Nice. Any feedback? Any comments? Anybody got an experience they'd like to share with us? Oh, y'all a lively group, come on.
I'll try to make by saying, these guys are talking about, like offering different things to people. Sometimes you could just make one thing, and it's just like, you get known for making that, AKM skulls, right? Sure, pencils, They don't need to really make a whole lot of other things. They just need to kind of stay in their wheelhouse and deliver what people want. That's if that product blows up, you know what I mean? If you're fortunate enough to have that happen. And also by a large degree, you make it happen by kind of hitting it so hard and being kind of unapologetic about this is what I make, and that's all I make. And that can work. So I think there's a lot of different paths. Waldo also said, like, vary it up, don't like go to the same shops in the same town. I do sell to shops in the same town, but I try to like be like, here's a selection of this stuff, like they were saying, different stuff, like here's, penguins, and then here's the ice stuff. And you go to one shop, you can get the penguin stuff, you go to the other shop, you get the ice stuff. So it's different enough, and there's enough variation, and I myself make enough like kind of different stuff that I can get away with that, but it does, like I've also pissed shops off by selling to the guy right down the street and selling pretty much the exact same thing. So yeah, be careful of that.
Yeah, like if you find a keystone shop in a town, and what I mean by keystone shop is like this is your strongest player in the town. Something I've been really successful with is just like being very honest. Like, do you have people in this town that you don't consider to be competitors? And would you mind if I approach them? And half the time, honest to God, they make the phone call for me and they give me a recommendation because I am being respectful and I'm not trying to sell across the street.
I've even had them buy a lot more because of that, and be like, hey, I'll just buy more stuff, and then you don't even go and see him. I'm like, okay.
Cool. Yeah.
One thing I want to touch on a little bit about that is, as you and an artist, and as these guys are talking, when you're going in with 3 to 4 different styles, make sure everything looks similar.
Yeah.
You need to have, if you're going in with production pipes and chillums and stuff, have 30 minimum, like a full double pistol case, just the top layer full of them, so the shop can see that you're making the same production. It's so much easier when it comes to reorders, because then they know that they're going to get the same thing. When they see it out in the front, they see that, okay, there's 30 spoons that are exactly the same kind of, they all have different wrap rate or different fume or different color, but they're all similar in shape, all the bowl holes, the carb holes, all that stuff's very important when it comes down to the shop. It's getting very picky nowadays, that they really look at the bowls before they buy them.
Yep.
Like that's been something that, back in the day, I had no problem, people just be like, all right, pick me out 40, but now they're picking their own 30 out, and they're really looking at the bowls, they're looking at the carbs, they're looking at every avenue. To see it the inside out, or the frits melted in, like all that's very important. Just double check your work.
More educated buyers.
Yeah, it's getting to be cutthroat out there.
Because you're inundated with a sea of 1 or 2 year glass blowers that are doing just that, but there's no consistency in there. And the guy who's been doing, there's a guy I used to rent from who would make,
He would make production, and he did it for 12 years. I think at this point he's been doing it for 15 years. His production is pristine. These 1 and 2 year glass blowers, while they can make that, it's just not gonna look as consistent and as nice, and I think the shops see that like, oh, this is a 12-year glass blower and this is a 1-year glass blower.
Which, you know, for everybody out there that's been blowing glass 1 or 2 years, we're not hating, we were all there too. I swear to God,
Yeah.
you know.
I have a question. How do you educate like your consumers or your buyers, the shops, the difference between the 1 and 2 year guys and the guys that have been doing it a decade or longer?
I mean,
How do you really bring it home?
The work should speak for itself.
yeah, the years don't really matter in my actual thing. I've seen glass blowers come in, they're 6 months strong, are fucking cranking out 50 spoons a day that I'm like, holy shit, kid.
Well, maybe I'm
But you can see the difference from China to American. You can see the difference from a wonky glass blower to a real glass blower. If you look and you show them, you know, you want to educate them. I mean, I would say as a shop, you shouldn't be picking out the wonky pipes and that kind of stuff. But I mean, if your stuff is similar and really nice melted in, I mean, the thickness shows
Consistency, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Consistency.
you don't build a good relationship from negatives, you build them from positives, so don't point out the wonky glass, just point out how yours is not,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
think have higher standards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Have
What
higher
if,
standards.
what if the market you're in has really low standards?
Well, then you're shining like a diamond in a billy goat's ass.
You can lead by example by being that guy who cares.
Yeah.
One guy who's like, oh, look, they're all consistent.
People respect that.
I guess the problem I'm at right now in the place where I'm at, which is Alaska, is like, how do I build that up or convince people when people really aren't educated or?
Oh, well, that's your job, you are now the teacher. Like, that's your job to go in there and to point out what makes a good pipe. And now I also, in my mind, like the time that I spend educating the buyer is very little. I want to establish with that buyer or with that shop owner, or if they're the same person, like, do you mind me approaching your salespeople? Because that's who sells our shit. Okay, they're the ones that I want to give free Helix samples to.
Yeah.
You know, like they are the troops that are on the ground.
Yeah.
That buyer, he's going to be in Cancun next week.
When I
takes
go,
vacations to Hawaii.
Exactly.
usually when I go to a shop, or let's say this show here, the people who own this show, right when I met them over 15 years ago, their whole family has a huge collection of my stuff. I would give each daughter a marble or a shot glass at every show. And I do that with, same thing with stores or galleries, definitely like what you said. Getting these people who are actually on the sales floor to have a relationship with you, it makes them feel special. They know this cool glass blower. And they want to tell everybody about you. So hooking them up with a sweatshirt or hooking them up with a couple pieces that you have made, dude, it goes a long ways.
Yeah, anybody who's going into a smoke shop and spending more than $40 has no idea what they want. They want to be guided. They want to be told a story.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like tipping somebody.
Yeah, you know, so like if they're not coming in there just buying consumables, you know, wraps or kratom or whatever, they want a story. And the person who's going to tell them that story, they're first of all, the good salesperson is going to establish the price point, then they're going to judge the person and be like, nah, I need you to spend 20 more. And then at that point, then they can show them an offering, and they're going to show them an offering of what they believe in the most. So you want to make sure that your product is one that the salespeople believe in the most.
I have a quick question. Those shops, do they seem to, when you say they're like uneducated or maybe they just don't really know much about the American glass scene, first of all, are they selling imports? Second of all, do they seem to care? Or, you know, are they just looking for the best?
It's kind of like
price,
they're
the best
trying to
price?
figure it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they all have the same imports, the same stuff.
Yeah.
Or if they don't, they have a representative sample of the local 1 year guy.
Okay.
To kind of show, to virtue signal that, oh, we support local guys, but we're really making the money.
Yeah.
And, you know, the people that I have the most success with are the people that want to sell my products and want to re-up.
Sure.
But getting those new guys to be like, hey, this stuff sells, like, here's the sales receipt, here's the Instagram,
Sure.
it's kind of hard to convince them to get on my team when, you know, the shelf space that I'm occupying isn't making.
That's real estate, sir.
Yeah.
That is high value real estate. And you better fight for that shit tooth and nail.
That's what I'm
Every
doing
inch.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another way that you can endear yourself to shops is by helping them with promotion, like being,
I do
being there
live
to,
demos.
that's exactly what I was, that's it. And that's an opportunity for you to educate their customers and to educate them also at the same time. So you being willing to go over there and set up your torch and bring your small kiln.
People
And
love it.
absolutely.
You do live demos and they don't buy your glass?
Not that they do, it's like.
No, bro, that's part of the deal. It's like, I'll come do
I'm the
this.
best glass blower they've ever seen in their life. Like,
Awesome.
I'm the intro to glass blowing. Like,
That's a good place to
Well, that's a
be.
good, yeah.
Branching out on Instagram a little bit
Yeah.
and selling some of your stuff to some other shops and then showing them that, hey, I'm in these other reputable shops across the country. You guys should be fucking with me too.
Yeah.
You know, you also want to hit them up and say, hey, are you curating a collection? Are you curating anything that's like not just what I can find at every other shop? Because if you're not, why would a customer care to do that? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
remember back in the day when like the cool head shop in town like had this really cool pipe with all these wigwags on it, and it was just like, that's weird and different, you know? And it's just different. It's something. So also in your product line, be different, be as different as possible, while kind of staying competitive price-wise if you're focusing on production. Like make the little second burrito, or do, you know, the little tiny things that make you stand out. The blown out card instead of just the whole card.
Yeah.
Maybe it takes you 2 minutes more, but you're like, it's like, well, his work's different. Now you've made the work different and you stand out.
That kind of segues us into the kind of the next subject matter that we had on the list to talk about is like designing and pricing, you know? So how many people in here have an egg timer, or they actually use the timer on their phone when they're developing product lines? Like how many people are y'all tracking? Are you breaking down your material costs? Like, it's a business, folks. Like, we call ourselves artists, but we're craftsmen 90% of the time, and we all need to get real with that.
Yeah, even with my one used to take me like an hour and a half. Get it on the microphone.
Yeah, I have these ones that take me like an hour and a half to 2 hours to make, but I'm still like, how much time is this taking me? Because it's affecting my pricing. Even if it's a $300 one, but it's still kind of like production.
There's a point of diminishing returns at times,
Right.
you know, and you need to know your market. You need to know what price points, like, you know, and I would say actively talk to the shop owners. I know I do, and I find out, like, where do you feel resistance? $50, you know, for a dry piece. Where do you feel resistance for a wet piece? $150.
I was gonna say too, you know, as a shop owner, one thing that's really hard to say no to, you know, if you feel really confident in a shop and maybe they're not picking up your work, offer a term of consignment.
Yeah,
Say,
big time.
here's a group of my work. You don't have to pay me until it sells, but here's, you know, our terms, 2 to 3 months, what have you, and show them that it's gonna do well, you know, and if you have confidence in it, it should do well.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
As a stoner glass blower, I can't keep track of that shit, man.
Keep track of that.
You better keep
That's
track.
exactly
If
what
you're
I
gonna do that
was
shit, ain't no telling how much free work I let out in the world like that.
Yeah, because literally at that point, you know, you're financing somebody.
Yeah.
That's what somebody told me.
And I'm-
And, but going back there, because I think he's got a good point too. You know, in the very beginning, I would consign a lot of stuff, and then guess what? I found people that had been in business for 25 years. Those are the kind of people I would consign to, not somebody that had been in business for a couple years.
Right, yeah.
So there's ways of doing it.
Consignment's a way to get it to
It's a
work.
way.
It's all these stores.
But proceed with caution, that's all I'm saying, proceed with
Yeah,
caution.
you have to keep track of your collabs, you can keep track of your consignments.
I can't keep track of my collabs. I run up on people at the show, and they're like, dog, you still owe me $250. I was like, oh shit.
Hey, and the cool thing is, listen, one thing I want to say though, as far as the consignment go, I still consign maybe 5 places in the United States, and guess what? They send me a check for $2,000 to $3,000 every month.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's places that you can consign to, and ultimately you're talking about like 20 G's a year of maybe 5 or 10 different places. And so sometimes if it's somebody like you really know, you know, it's okay with you, you know, and that personal and business relationship always gets kind of screwed up, but there are some reputable, you know, shops out there, especially galleries, you know, you're not always dealing with, you know, stoner hippies in a gallery, you're dealing with Christians and all that kind of stuff, so you say what you want, but that, they definitely have that trusting thing, is what I found out, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I certainly, my recommendation is definitely not to, you know, be wise about what you're doing. Pick your shops because you want to be in there for a particular reason. You can see that they're doing well. You can see that they're doing well. They present themselves well. They have good showroom. If they're representing themselves well, they're going to represent your work well and make those decisions.
But again, like, please remember, it's a business. I know when I got into this, I wanted to be an artist. I just want to make spoons. I want to make the dragon. I want to make all the shit. And I get to it once in a while. But at the end of the day, like, it's a business and you have to approach it that way. Otherwise, you might not get to keep doing this.
I
Maureen?
have one thing to add. If you're going to sell anything to a gallery or consignment,
Get your loud voice on, ma'am.
you have to make sure you can visit that shop like regularly.
Physically. Make sure that you're working. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Pop in, that's the key.
So I won't mention the gallery, but may I tell a story to reinforce that? So I put some work in a gallery that was local, and I made it up there because I hadn't been getting any sales, to find out that my shit had been back shelved in the back room. Like, it wasn't even out for view. Like, they had put it back and recycled it, and I had to, hey, no wonder you can't sell my shit. Nobody's seen it.
I've just seen a lot of disruption in the gallery market.
Yes.
And you might have, find 5 years ago, you walked in and they were not there.
Right.
They moved, and you have to find where they went. There's just a lot of those horror stories too. So
I've seen people
if you
change
can
prices too.
Go back.
Oh, sure, and you know what, as long as I'm making my money, I don't give a damn. Like, if y'all want to elevate my market by taking something I sell you for $250, and I was hoping y'all would sell it for, 2.5 times markup, and you sell it for 12, well, shit, I'm gonna raise my prices next time.
If they can sell it.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be careful about that too, because you don't want them up raising your prices and then it sits in there forever. You want to
Dusty
make sure that they're
paperweights.
keeping it,
Yeah.
nice and even.
When I started doing glass and someone would sell my stuff for 5 times as much, at first I was kind of a little disappointed, or I felt almost a little violated. And then somebody told me who was a really good businessman. That's when I learned what free enterprise was. That's the definition of free enterprise.
Mhm.
And so it's like anything else. If somebody can sell it for that much more, you should give them props.
Oh, yeah,
You
man.
couldn't do that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, good thing that they did.
Absolutely.
And that'll elevate in the future. Yeah, maybe you would raise your prices. I don't know if I would, but definitely it's a good thing.
All right, now let's segue from here into self-promotion and social media. So how many people in this room actively promote their work on social media? That's not enough hands. Okay, let me say that shit right now, that's not enough hands. How many of those people actually promote shops that pay their bills every month?
Hell yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. You gotta attack that Stoke, Connecticut, We gotta have it every time that we make an in-person sale, or even if we're mailing it out, we'll take a picture of the stuff before we pack it up in the box, and we put them on a list to be tagged, like, hey, y'all check out Stoke, Connecticut, because they just got the new Helix drop. They got the freshest shit in the country, so y'all go check them out. And it's a circular thing, and it gains energy as it goes.
I want to add a little bit to that as a distributor. It's hard for me to post every time at a shop I'm at, but I expect all my artists, every time they get shouted out, to re-shout out the shop. It's hard for me as a distributor because it just gets tricky, and then I'm shouting 5 shops out a day. It's tricky. I can't even keep up with that social media. So I kind of expect my artists to go ahead and shout out the shops, and I try to keep up on that. But that's something that I want to add to a distributor.
Yeah, and I want to add to what he's saying. He probably doesn't want his story to just be shout outs to shops, right? Because then people are just gonna be like, I know what to expect. So I think the story is this new thing that's well, not new, but it's so important.
It's got
to be on the story.
Different vehicles now.
Right, exactly.
You have different ways to tell the story.
Because the story is your 24-hour, this is what's happening right now. Your feed sometimes pops up, like I posted on my Las Vegas Expo today, someone on Sunday is gonna see that, or whatever, and it's gonna be way past the time. So the story is like the urgency. And make the story diverse. A good example of a fun story to follow is Sherb's story. He's like, this is what I'm smoking on, this is what I'm wearing today, this is who, this is this artist that I have in my collection that it's like his life, and people like that. Like a lot of people relate to it because they're like, that's what I do too, I collect glass and I like to smoke and all that stuff. And then he's also like, well, here's something I'm offering for sale, so it's not just one thing. It's not just like all shout outs, but Instagram makes it so easy to just add this to your story, add this to your story. That's a click of a button to post. Like, that's so easy. So why not?
Well, like the people that did not raise their hand on promoting your works on social media, well, why aren't you? Anybody? You're not? It's 2019. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like, it's real. Like, these are the things that we have to do. These vehicles are amazing. Like, for those of us who were blowing glass before there was YouTube and before there were, I mean, all these educational vehicles, and it's like ridiculous. It's a touch. It takes so little effort. Like,
And also the sold post, right? Like, this is sold. You could have gotten it. It's sold now.
Edit the
Like,
post.
don't just put up what's available. Put up what is not available now that they slept on it. So it's like, because I see that all the time. I see Stoke will do that. They'll be like, oh, this is sold.
So,
like, damn,
y'all
I
slept.
kind of wanted that, but I guess I slept on it, And then, okay, next time when I see something, they sell glass, so I'm gonna get in there and get there first to buy it.
Yeah, I got a little story to tell on that. I got a good friend that owns a shop down in Austin, and he had a couple of salt starfishes, and they weren't identical, but they were really close. They were different colors. One was black, one was white. So he was all stoned, and he was cleaning his shelves and everything, and he couldn't sell these things for shit, right? They were very expensive. It was when salt was first blowing up, and so he was Windex and all those things, and he took them both off, and then when he put them back on the shelf, he forgot one of the starfish, put one up, but he still had both. And some guy walked in, and he was like, "Oh shit, man! Like, I've been wanting to buy those things for months, man. I give it to me now." And the fact that he left that one piece, it was directly under the other piece. It was just not visible. It was more attractive, and it had more urgency to it.
Yeah, and also because it was part of the family, right? It just wasn't that one sitting there.
Correct.
That just sits there, right? Yeah.
I want to go back to the social media a little bit here. I feel like this is kind of a touchy subject with a lot of shop owners, collectors, and I've just been hearing a lot about it lately. I hate to say this, but no politics, no negativity. Your story can maybe do that, but the posts on Facebook, Instagram, they need to be art. They need to be you enjoying life. People don't want to see that shitty thing that just happened. Yeah, it happens to everyone. Everyone has a shitty day.
Yeah.
Don't post about it, please.
Positive self.
The collectors do not want to see that. The shops do not want to see that, because now you're portraying negativity. Now you're going in there with a pissy ass attitude. They don't want that. Your collectors don't want, I've seen a lot of glass blowers over the years piss off 3/4 of their collectors, and the market dies in 2 seconds, and now none of the shops want to buy their glass.
Correct.
Now they're having to make production again. They're like, oh, I'm selling okay, but it's really important. No politics. No, if you want to talk politics, have a personal page. Your artist page, your glass blowing page, it's for glass blowing. It's for nature. It's for you enjoying yourself, you having a good time. Like, do not post negativity. No.
It's a profession, okay? A profession needs professionals. That's where it's at, If you want to do that, go talk to your sister-in-law or whoever, and spout that shit out and get out the poison. But when it comes to promoting your work, positive sells positive. That's it. Okay. Y'all get interactive. Challenge us. Ask us some
social
questions.
media, like anything.
You guys have any questions?
Has anybody heard about Iconosquare?
So, I've been blowing glass 15 years, mostly production. And I've been on Facebook, and that's why I started on Facebook, and I'm not actively posting, but for years I was on Facebook and never had much success, much more than 100, 200 people at a time. So that's why I didn't go to Instagram.
Facebook is very tricky. I don't actually even post on my Walls Winners Facebook. I post on my Instagram and link it to it. So every time I post, I don't even look at my Twitter, but sometimes I'll be bored and go on there and be like, holy shit, I got 30 likes on this one thing that I had no idea had happened.
Yeah.
And you just link all your accounts. You make one Instagram post. Instagram is definitely the hottest right now. Just with resharing stories of shops and kind of everything like that. I feel like just, share it to Facebook and just create a Twitter. I mean, it takes 2 minutes.
I've chosen to put all my eggs in Instagram, and I might get bit by that.
Because I didn't have much success with Facebook, it took me so long to
But don't look for an endorphin rush. Like, don't make it personal. Like, I got 17 likes and I'm feeling like, just keep pushing.
So now that I've been on Instagram, not even a year, it's been way more.
You've seen a steeper climb, correct?
So, because I don't actively do it.
It's good, it's organic likes rather than bot likes.
Well, that's where collabing and shouting out shops and things of that nature gets this whole circular energy going where people are,
But the thing about Facebook,
That demographic, like, each one has those different demographics and hashtags.
Yeah.
But I think like Facebook is like a directory of people I know.
right?
Yeah, Instagram is like
We're excited about like other things in glass.
Well,
Everybody that's on there doesn't even know much about glass in the first place.
There's tools though, like Iconosquare, there's tools that tell you not only which one of your hashtags happen to be moving right, but it also tells you what other hashtags are, and it'll show you what part of, like what time of the day and what day of the week you're getting the most hits and the most views and how many followers you've lost in game. Like, so,
but also move with caution because you don't want to get sucked into the numbers. It's like, oh, I got 5 people, these people have followed me, I should care about that. No, you shouldn't, you should just keep producing.
yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Honest Bob from Robbins, Rhode Island.
Honest Bob. What's happening, baby?
The question I've got is, I use Instagram, I use Facebook to promote the shop, promote the artist, to respond directly to customers. But I would like to get online, but I don't know shit about e-commerce. Now, how can I, as an individual, the rest of us, know who to pick to build a website?
Okay, so
To be honest, your payment processor is the trickiest part of that, considering what we do. Is that fair?
Well, there's a lot of banks that will take, obviously, I think Shopify is the easiest platform for somebody to do it themselves.
Big Cartel.
Big Cartel is good too.
Depends on like how in depth you want to go.
Big Cartel.
Big Cartel, yeah. I guess it's just like, do you want a shopping cart site or do you want a website that has shopping on it?
Right.
You have to make
Well,
that
how do I
decision.
find somebody who's going to explain that to me without blowing a bunch of smoke in my ass part of the time?
You're gonna I think pick one of the options. Like Squarespace is more like website. You can build a whole website and then you can build a shopping site on there. Big Cartel is like a shopping cart
It's
site.
like it's in Etsy or you have a page.
It's for e-commerce.
I use Craigslist to find my person. I actually just put up there, come in for an interview, show me what you make, and I'll kick you a rig or a pipe when I own a shop. That's what I did for mine, and it worked out pretty good. I mean, it took a lot of finesse to kind of figure everything out, but I mean, they came in and I chose between 5 or 6 people just off Craigslist.
But where does it stand in terms of support? Also, building is one thing. What happens if the site goes down? Our website is fully run remotely. Like the guy who helps us with our website is remote. I've actually never even met the guy. So I'd be happy to put you in touch with him if you want. Like you can email me or we can link up.
They got a great website. They
But
really do.
what's your name? My name is Charlie. It's charlie@stokect.com is my email address. But
Y'all blast him. Blast him. Send him a bunch of inappropriate pictures.
yeah, I mean, it's, we have somebody who maintains it on a monthly basis. It costs a couple bucks. It costs a little bit more to obviously build the website. We're not familiar with doing that, so we had somebody help us out. And it looks beautiful. It runs great. We love it. And it does well for us.
Like any other circuit brick and mortar store,
Yeah.
we're losing, it's become like a galaxy of laws. Because now you've got the artists that sell things for 20% over, when or in a shop, when they sell the shop, or even the same in a lot of cases. I mean, I've got, some 19-year-old kid coming in, I bought this off so-and-so, I'm like, really?
And then tell
That's
that artist you don't want their work in.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, no. Come on.
What I've done is if I see an auction and an artist does online or sells something to a local collector of mine, when I own the shop, if he sold it for $300, next time he came in and asked me $250 for a piece, I'd say, he sold it for $300, I'll pay you $150.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, but that's how it is. Like, that really hurts the shops and everyone you're around by selling pieces online. I'm fine with it if it's a one-off, but if it's something you're regularly offering to a shop, it's a
Any
stinker.
shop that says they aren't getting hammered by this,
Yeah.
by artists,
Yeah.
Well, you're not just getting hammered by that, you're getting hammered by online websites. There's a lot of facets that are taken away from the brick and mortar. So, and that's why as a brick and mortar, you all work so hard to make it a unique experience, right?
We try to be an agent for the glass blowers. That's our goal, you know?
Yeah.
You guys, your time is money. So if you guys gotta spend a bunch of time on Instagram, communicating with the customers, making the sale, having the shit fall through, following up, while buyer fell through, let us be your agent, let us sell your stuff. But if you're gonna sell online, artists, it has to be at MSRP or a little bit more.
I would say more.
Let us throw in a free banger. Let us throw in a free pelican. Let us give 10-15% off.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but stick to your prices, and it only is going to help you in the future. That's how
And to your point about how you set up your online sales, I noticed that Stokes has a lot of stuff in their stories. It's like, go to stokesct.com, so swipe up, right? So it's like a linked together kind of like ecosystem of business where they see it on Instagram and then they bring that gets them over to the site, and then they shop because they're telling the story about the glass on Instagram, so they don't need a website to you do go in depth on your website too, but if you want to just stick to shopping on the website, you can do that, and then you can do the narrative like on your Instagram. I do a narrative on my Squarespace. I talk about all the techniques I use. I have all these pages about what I do and why I do it.
Referencing articles that you wrote for magazines, perhaps?
Right.
Like when you submit that tutorial to the flow that you're going to submit, right? Yeah, I believe you got your hand raised at one point, sir, in the hoodie in the back. Did you? Who did? Somebody?
Someone else?
Do we have a hand? Ma'am?
Well, here's my issue. You're faithful to the shops. You're not selling online, but they still won't pay you enough to flip and make a goddamn living.
That can be true, and again, I think a lot of that has to do with design and intent of the work. You have to time it. You have to price it out. You have to make sure that you come out at a price that you're pleased with, and if the market resists, then you make another design.
I mean, that kind of comes back to what we just said about the pricing thing, or selling different items to not shops. I mean, you can work a little bit harder, make different stuff, but when it comes down to it, how much time do you spend on social media trying to sell to people when you could be okay? And that's one thing. Is like, I know when I was a retail store, it took me fucking 6 to 7 hours a day of just sitting in there, just answering Instagram questions. It was the most annoyingest thing ever, but that's what we have to do as a shop compared to the artist. I mean, stay off your phone. Put your phone down, not even near the bench for when you're cranking out. When you take a break, take a cig break, smoke, whatever, then play with your phone for the 10-15 minutes and put it away. When you're working, don't get someone in the middle to call you. You need to not pay attention to that. You need to be cranking out the glass. Like, that's very important because the time is an issue.
Well, if I may, real quick, bottom line is that it's not an easy hustle. We do this because we love it and because we can't hardly think of ourselves doing anything else, and we enjoy the people in the industry that we get to be around. But don't for a second think that it's fucking easy.
I'm not thinking
it's a long hustle, folks.
I had a little bit of trouble understanding what you were saying. You were saying, how do you,
We're faithful to the shop owners.
Right,
We're not
right.
on Instagram selling.
So,
we're not,
here's what I do to
But
get
it's really
myself-
hard to get the money for the product.
Like, you'll do a big sale and then you're like, sweet, I'm good for a month or two.
Develop
But
a
then it's
sideline
like,
that you
when's
put
the
on
next sale?
social media. Develop a sideline that you don't offer to the shops that you want to reach out, something that links together with the actual end user. Or I sell non-functionals. I don't try to sell non-functionals to these guys. I sell them my pipes. When I'm on Instagram and I'm running auctions and stuff, I'm selling pendants, and shot glasses, and marbles.
Yeah, I have an auction page, and I post once every 2 weeks, and just here and there when I have something to offer people. But it's that gets you the bread and butter you need to get between shop sales. And then also, I've gotten a lot of shops that hit me up, they see the auctions and they're like, hey, this is great, can I get some stuff? It's like another kind of channel. Yeah.
Okay, we're starting to get a little redundant here. You got a question, sir?
Well, I was just making a statement, like,
Statement?
I've had a situation where I've taken a piece into the shop and the shop's like, oh man, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, how many Instagram followers you have? Oh, that's not enough Instagram followers for me to buy that. So like, you know, working, you know, on your social media is a big, you know.
I've had that issue running.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some shops that won't even deal with me just because I'm not an artist, I'm a distributor, and I don't have the following of collectors following me. I'm like, okay, but all my artists, you know, it's just tricky to even to make them understand that. There's a lot of shops that think like that.
No,
It's a learning experience. Yeah, question? Go ahead, sir.
So me and my buddy, one of the things we've been trying to do lately in the past few months is put together like a wholesale catalog of our production work.
Right on, yeah.
And we've kind of been going back and forth on leaning towards.
Are you doing digital or print?
Both.
Digital.
We're trying to figure out.
Lose that print.
It's
No,
coming back.
lose that print.
It's coming back.
Lose that print.
About going into the store and actually being in person location, developing that relationship. And it's kind of hard for us with cases, like we're only in, you know, game a couple of years, and it used to be carry your case in, bring all of your shit with you and bring everything you fucking have. And now you walk in the door with a case and they're like, oh, get out.
You gotta have the appointment. A lot of shops are so, yeah.
So like, it's like between doing emails and trying to go in and be in person.
Yeah.
And formatting this catalog as either a gallery page or an actual just listed catalog.
You know, I mean, there's two ways to kind of approach it. I feel like, you know, you definitely need to get a time when the shop owner's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Get that lockdown, come in with cases in. If he's not gonna be there, walk in and drop off your flyers and contact info, talk to a manager in there, become very friendly with them. Make sure that they're gonna remember you. Maybe kick them a pipe.
Give samples to the employees, the salespeople, you know.
Salespeople, yeah.
Yeah.
Go right past the buyer to the
Yeah,
salesperson.
well, ask permission from the buyer, because I've been in that situation where I just gave some fucking samples without asking, and I got pounced upon, you know, but, yeah.
Do you, like, focus on, like, hand pipes and that sort of production, or?
It's basically been the most basic production stuff that we have. You know, just bubblers, pipes, spoons,
Bread and butter.
stuff like that.
Bread and
We're
butter.
trying to grow it, obviously, with new products and different stuff and changing from what we see and things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a couple people that we have that we're go-tos, you know, they're so consistent with their work that we have the utmost confidence in placing an order and getting it without being hands-on. One of those people is here at the trade show. He goes by I Heart Frank. Check him out, talk to him. He has a good thing going, and he's very consistent. He diversifies the work enough so that we can spend a couple $1,000s and not feel like we have redundant pipes. They're very diversified.
If I could add, what's your guys' opinion with minimum order requirements and things like that? I mean, just as a personal preference, or?
There's a slippery slope, you know?
We quit it, it didn't work for us.
Okay.
You know, like, I tried,
Yeah.
but then they want to do reorders, and so if I've got these little $12 chillums that are selling like fucking hotcakes, it's hard for them to hit a $500 minimum on that, but they really want them, they don't want that bare spot, and again, that comes back to real estate. So if I put myself in a position of requiring a minimum, the shop's like, I can't hit $500 with the chillums. Well, all of a sudden, they don't have any more of my chillums, my minimum shot me out of that order, so now I just lost that real estate. Somebody else is gonna gain that real estate. And my brother, I'm here to tell you, your shelf, sir, that is real estate to me.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I kind of want to add to that is coming in. I've got a lot of artists that have minimums. I don't. So if you're super busy and can't keep up, if you have a distributor and you're super busy with them, tell your shops, hey, I have a $1,000 minimum. I have a distributor that has no minimum. They can order from 20 artists from me and get 2 of each thing that they're missing in the shop, rather than going to you, and it helps you and the distributor sell your work faster. It's an all-around good thing right there. Yeah, I mean, it's something, you know, like a lot of my artists are like, I'm sorry, but you can't, I'm so backed up, it's $1,200 to $1,500 minimum, but I can put you in the line if you want to. If not, hit up so-and-so to get, 5 of those bubblers or 2 of those slides or whatever it is. It just works for everyone.
Same thing with like if somebody hits you up online on Instagram, I'm sorry to step over, I don't need to. Somebody hits me up and they want blah, 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 and I'm like, well, I don't really have those right now, but you know what? I just sent 12 of those to Stoke, Connecticut. So if y'all want to hit them up, they have online sales, and you can have one out in a heartbeat. So, please.
If it's bread and butter, I say let it, do it. Call them in a month, say, hey, how'd that go? How's my stuff going? They'll look at their reports and say, oh shit, we're out of that.
Yeah.
Again, actually double the order this time.
Please respect with how much a shop owner has to keep up with. Don't think that they're not paying attention to you just because they don't like you. No, there's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of moving parts down in the shop.
I want to add just a tiny, just a little question. Like, do you have pictures next to all your stuff in your catalog, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Are they group pictures or are they single pictures of
They're
these?
single, they look at
Nice.
the top and the side.
I think you should have 4 to 5 of each thing because they really want to see
Show
like
that
that all
consistency.
are similar.
That's
They
right.
want to
So
see
different
that-
colors, but the same
Yeah,
shape?
different colors, different shape.
Also, like when you're posting on Instagram, this is just my personal preference of what I think. I actually am kind of curious to see what y'all think. I like single shots or 3, or like not like I don't want to see 50 because I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I
3.
think that's a general, because I see a lot of glass blowers like, look at all the stuff I made. I'm like, I don't even know what that is because it's just a smattering of glass.
Okay, now, we've hit most of the subjects that we wanted to talk about, and we're coming up on some limited time. We've got about 10 minutes left. Would y'all come at us, please? I'd like to open up the floor for other subjects that we hadn't touched upon. You want to say something? I feel it. I did Etsy, but then Etsy started letting in so much import resellers that we found that to not be the proper platform for us, because everybody's kind of got this feeling that Etsy's all like crafted, American-made shit, and it's totally not the case. So we just found that not to be our platform.
My friend Johanna,
Sir.
Do you have what you would prefer?
Big cartel. We do big cartel.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy, it's plug and play, it doesn't take a lot of effort, You can still meta tag it and do all the things that you need to do.
Functional stuff,
So-
you got a problem with functional stuff on Big Cartel?
Yeah, we hadn't got caught yet. That's all I said.
There's somebody in my shop who makes icicles, just made a ton of icicle ornaments, and she's not making pipes. She sells tons of them on Etsy. So it kind of depends on what you make too. If you're like, okay, I've got my spoons, but then during Christmas time I want to do a whole batch of icicles or ornaments, try it out on Etsy because there is a community on Etsy, it exists. It might work for you. I think give it the honest college try and see what happens.
Try and see what works.
Yeah.
You, sir?
Yeah,
Come on, get your big room voice on.
earlier you made a comment about asking how many people break down the cost of each.
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
How would you recommend someone figure that out if they don't do it?
Okay, take your materials, whatever it is, and at whatever level you're buying from. So if you're buying single tubes, you have to calculate for single tubes. If you're buying pallets, then you calculate for pallets. And always give yourself, I do a 20% buffer. Shit gets broke, shit gets lost, whatever. You gotta balloon it a little bit, So then you have your material cost. Then you have how much money that you feel like you need to make per hour. Because I promise you, like as a glass blower, if you calculate that you're making $60 per hour, once you break some shit and you drive out, you sell the shit, or you pack it up in a box, and you take that time, you're making $20 an hour. Like, that's real, So yeah, you just have to break down each section of it and what do you want to do for yourself, and then you make sure that you cover your material costs and the loss.
Are you more about like the product, are you making like a spoon, measure how big of a blank that is for how many tubes and just cut it down like that? I mean, you need to know how much color.
You can take a Sharpie and go down the whole tube.
Yep.
And like hit so you know when you hit it in the flange, that's exactly where you
Weigh how much frick's going in there.
Exactly.
Yep.
Waste less material.
Everything needs to be either weighed or measured to know you're gonna make 50 of these pipes this week. See how long it takes you to make those 50, measure out how many tubes it took you to do those 50, break everything down.
And I know that sounds real monotonous and everything, but like you have to do a portion of that. So what I would say to people who are like, oh my God, man, I didn't get into glass blowing so I could become a fucking accountant. Freestyle Friday. Or Saturday or whatever. Like, give yourself a day to play, you know, but there's bread and butter. There are things that have to be done, you know, and if it's 4 days a week, then be methodical those 4 days a week, you know, and give yourself a day to play.
And it's business. This is
It's business.
not just art,
Yeah.
it's a business.
Yeah.
And they're
Absolutely.
making money not to play.
You were breaking those down based on like proto spoons or proto chillins or something.
Proto whatever.
Higher end, like multiple and almost sections, but like each color weight, like it's a different price point.
That's a little,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
that's
a
more
little
about time
different.
on that.
Yeah.
I mean, all the colors, what are they, 80 to 120 pound, weigh the piece at the end.
That's what I- yeah,
120
I weigh the piece at the
see
end.
how long it takes you to make it.
Yeah.
That's the only way to kind of do that.
That's it. If you put together a big old piece that's 2.5 pounds and the most expensive color that you have on there is Illuminati and it's $100 a pound, well then I just figure I put
I don't think Picasso weighed his paint. You know, but you definitely on your basic stuff. For me it's kind of silly, just the conversation alone, because it's like somebody making bread, are they gonna weigh out the flour?
Yes.
You know, so
Yes. Every bit of it. Yeah.
They might not sometimes, it's the skills that pay the bills. So eventually you'll get there, and it won't be as, I don't think for this situation, it's not, maybe for somebody who has 15 guys who's running, you know, maybe almost, to me, it's like a glass pizza bar. You know,
Well, they gotta-
and then there's those individuals, and so I think it's,
Yeah, they gotta kind of figure out how much they want to charge for the piece, you know, where to start, because that's a lot of the problem right now. Is, okay, this piece is really nice, and it took me 25 hours, what the heck do I charge?
Oh, I swear to God, the most fun pieces I ever made were the ones I lost the most money on. That's real. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you just want to break it down to an hourly, and be like, you know, yeah, $60 an hour or $100 an hour or whatever. It's taking 5 hours to make, $500 wholesale. You know, that can sometimes just kind of like cover those costs. If it's, you know, kind of an umbrella thing. If
But you gotta be
it's like that's hard
knowledgeable.
to figure it out. You might be wasting your time like measuring all this stuff. You know?
You gotta be knowledgeable of it, otherwise you're gonna get to the end of every month and you'll be like, why am I only making $12 an hour? You know, like. Okay, anybody else? We got some more things going on? Yeah.
I did have a question, just talking about like supply costs.
Right.
Color was really something that was hard for me because you've got these, you know, $40 pounds to, you know, $160 pounds.
Correct.
Colors, and it makes it really hard to take a product you try to get the most reasonable price for with these lower tier colors, and then all of a sudden people want these $120 pound colors.
That's lovely, they paid the $120 price.
Yeah, I will, I
You
have a
know?
little bit of controversy on that one. I mean, if a shop is asking for a custom, that's different. But I feel like, and now in the day and age, we were talking a little bit earlier, if you want to step that piece up and make it worth what it is and really sell that piece, put a hype color in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks to spend a little bit more, but you're trying to move some glass. If you're trying to move some glass, take that extra top notch and do it. Just put something cool on there. Just add a little bit something.
And let's say it takes you one rod to coil up, and then that's like what you make your piece out of, right? There's little waste or something. It's still, it took you that one
Well,
rod.
see, that's kind of how I do it, is I'll have my vessel that I'll make in attachments, I use a whole rod of color for horns and all that kind of stuff.
So that's like $6
It's
for.
cheap, but then with a $20 stick of gold ruby, you know.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But the thing about it is that color is not available to all glass artists, so therefore it elevates the price because it's rare, you know, like.
So my next question would be, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you didn't, please.
If I have it set at a certain price with this color and they want it, like what's a respectable amount to raise the price based off the $60 pound versus $100?
Like in our catalog, the price of that's taken off.
That's it, you regain the price of the color. It's not taking any more effort to coil the gold ruby, you know.
$20 stick.
Yeah, so $6 and $14. Like if you normally use a $6 color and you're paying $20 for the gold ruby, charge them buggers.
It's like in our catalog, we put what you did, right?
That's when the bottom line to do that. I mean, that's what the material cost. Like, I try to keep everything at 20%, you know, and when I start doing that, if you're just adding, then you're gonna start messing up all your, you know, material costs, you know.
What do you mean?
So if you're, yeah, if you do a base product at, you know, and it costs 20% for your materials, you know, if you just add that extra material cost in the end, then you're gonna get outside your 20%. then you're taking that out of something else. You're taking that out of your shipping, you're taking that out of your driving, you're taking that out of, you know, everything else that you've got a lot of your percentages.
So you're saying you beef it up a little more?
Yeah, I do it, you know, for the percentage. I take, you know, okay, if this is, I keep it in at 20%. Like everything I do, you know, a $10,000 headache down to a, you know, $10 spoon, it all works out at 20%.
Well, and if including those higher priced colors raises your margins overall, maybe just don't include that color. My buddy just does China spoons, and they're so cheap because he knows the color's cheap. He doesn't need to sit there and make some calculation to account for the fact he's also making them in gold ruby. He needs to keep the price somewhere around a certain price. He just doesn't make them.
I mean, after you've done it for years, you're not sitting there with a calculator anymore. You already know. Like,
Yeah, your calculator's right here. Yeah. All right, anybody else? Got things? Yes, please, sir.
Just one last thing too, because I don't know how many people in here are just shop owners like myself.
I think you're the one.
Smallest thing. Hold it down, biggest little.
Yeah.
But one of the only problems I've run across concurrently, year on year with glass artists, is their failure to stay in touch with me. And I can't stress it on artists enough because systems get corrupted, data gets corrupted, something gets lost, whatever. You've got to stay on your shops. I'm telling you, the shop owner. I'm the oldest in Rhode Island, 25 plus years in this business. I came to the second show there never was, the Cash and Expo Center. So I've seen colors and artists in this entire industry explode beyond any imagining I could have had a quarter of a century ago. But one thing from then till now is get it. I don't care if you write it down on one of these.
Stay in touch.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And when it comes down to minimum orders, I could not say something sucks ass worse than a minimum order.
Yep.
Because you know what? Stuff sells and it ebbs and flows.
Yes.
You know, hot and cold, availability or not. You know, it's like you've got to go with what you got to go with. And if an artist can sell $50 a week, at the end of the year, it's $2,600 you picked up. Versus that one person that made $1,000 order.
Right.
Last I checked, 2,600 was a fuck of a lot better than
It's a
that.
little better than 1,000.
So you do that, you know, put together some of your scraps, put together stuff like the old end of day stuff, you know?
End of day stuff. That's legit. That's old school.
If it costs you less like that, but
Yeah.
you know, get your waste, crush it up, make your frit, put something out there together because Steve Jobs kind of robbed the quote from Henry Ford. Henry Ford was asked, you know, about making his cars and stuff, input from customers. He said, if I would ask customers what they wanted, they would have said faster horses.
Faster horses, yeah, not a car.
Have to innovate and show us what we don't know. Don't wait for us to ask for it. That's fine if we can. You know what I mean? You know.
They'll make you more money if they innovate.
Pretty boy, I love that shit. Faster horses.
We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah,
you know, if you say, hey, why don't we do glow-in-the-dark frit? Oh, well, glow-in-the-dark's expensive. Okay, we'll take a little piss amount of it, make it into a little wrap around this basic, what normally would have been just silver spoons.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Sweep everything together and make it happen because someone out there is going to buy it.
And I think
because it's art. And art appeals. The only other thing I would disagree with you guys is about the whole rosy perspective of happiness and light and positivity. Picasso, like the other fellow said, would have never had a blue period.
Right.
Emotion is what moves art, and I'm sure we all agree on that.
Yeah.
Right? And if dysfunction and dystopia and things like that didn't motivate people, didn't turn eyes onto The Handmaid's Tale, didn't move people in their musical taste or their artistic taste, we wouldn't have these things.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd say don't be limited by one thing, bring everything into whatever motivates you.
Oh, I promise you the best albums you ever heard were not written sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Karen Carpenter said the best love songs are written with a broken heart.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's what motivates you because you're going to get your best piece. I tell all the artists I meet, I won't be your biggest customer ever, but I can be one of your longest running customers.
There you go. There we
I
go.
can see what you make the best.
Right. Yeah.
If you work in chip brown and braids and whatever, that's fine because you know what? You'll probably hit those colors
Somebody
better
likes
than
chip
anybody
brown.
else.
Right.
And then I can put that next to Loki's lipstick and Illuminati and all this other stuff and have that contrast.
This
And
man's
my
got a
competition-
torch. Don't let you think that he's just a shop owner. This man has a torch. Just saying. You told on yourself, sir.
Well, that's a good shop owner, knowing the names of all the colors.
Absolutely.
Having the industry
Okay, on the
knowledge.
back foot, it's like don't worry about as much what they do. Learn from what they're doing. Same with artists. So if you stole lighting, if you stole, it's going to get out there eventually. You know, we have V8 engines, we have rubber. This is what happens. It's innovation, and people absorb it, they borrow from it.
And I wanted to make a
Hold on, wait, please. I'm sorry, but the gentleman in front also.
Oh, yeah.
But it's one of those things where, with every artist they have an individual approach. They have an individual style. And I want to see the best of what you can do. I want to find out when an artist comes to my store, they have various wares, and I ask her, this is cool, this is whatever, like too high price for, for my area, but what do you like to do? Oh, I really like Oneies, I really like Sherlock's, I really, things like this, Good, because that's what I want from you.
That's the feedback, that's the kind of
you're going to put your better effort into it.
Yeah.
That's what I want, is your better effort, better product. I'm going to let Joe Schmo try to chisel you and whack you down in price, like you're some fucking robot.
Right.
You've got 2 eyes and 2 hands, you can only do so much.
Yeah, but you're an anomaly, sir.
Yeah.
You're not what we deal with normally.
Well,
You just say that.
Maybe that's why I made it 25 plus.
Yeah.
With no website, it's true.
Yeah. All right, gentleman in front of you.
Yeah, in regards to social media, what do you think about sponsored ads, sponsored posts?
Not on Facebook.
No, not on Facebook and not on fucking Instagram because they're gonna choke you out on a functional thing.
Tiny short story. Facebook, we started doing it. We had like 7,000 followers. And this part of thought it was great to start promoting on Facebook. We got 12,000 in 3 or 4 days. All of a sudden, I started looking at we got 1 like a day. We used to get like 35 to 40. Wow. The second we stopped paying, we weren't even getting any likes.
Yeah, you can't pay people to like your stuff.
It was horrible. I did not agree against it. I mean, it's different on Instagram if you're a business profile. That helps a little bit with the logistics backing fine. But
sometimes with events, I think it's possible, it's an intelligent move, but I feel a certain type of way when I see like sponsored underneath an artist's name and there's artwork.
You got a bunch of shit that you're ready to sell and you want to try it that way, like some of these companies that have scalability, like, that's the thing, like us as glass blowers, we have scalability issues, but if you have something that, you're ready to sell and you have, 400 of them, give it a shot. I mean, we did it with one of those sharper image kind of companies where they approached us and they were like, hey, we'd like to take on this many helixes and we're going to promote them for this blast. And so we set aside this much inventory for them and we did it for a month. And, it didn't work out as good as either of us hoped to, but it was still a win, And that's how they did it, was they did it with the shop. No, actually, that young lady had her hand up first.
So I was curious about strategies for growing your following base. Is there, I can't keep up with the algorithm. I can tell when it changes, but I don't ever know what I need to do differently.
Post happy photos, that goes back to that, just be positive on there.
Yeah, I have a good tip. Be active on Instagram as a user.
Yeah.
So go in and like a comment. Great. That's what I do, and then post as much as you can and post good photos.
I've noticed if I post multiple photos in a row that my likes drop off completely.
Yep.
I have to string them out.
Yeah, and post different things. One day post glass, one day post your animals, post outdoors, post a car, post that really helps a lot if you change it up. If it's all glass, there's not very many new people that can find that, but there are people that find, oh, I grew a tomato, made salsa.
Yeah, but to a degree, they also follow you because of what you do.
I've also gotten the feedback to groom it like a gallery. So when somebody looks at it, they can know right away, here's a sweet little girl on the very top page, and it's really groomed, and there's no personal stuff.
That's fair, but I can say that we might get 300-400 likes on, business stuff, but then we'll put out some meme, and then we get 700, 800, we get the most likes off of funny stuff. So then we post it, but what we do afterwards is we'll let it run for 3 days, and then we go back and we delete it, so that as you go down our Instagram, it is more of a gallery thing, but we do put in those kind of heartfelt, funny whatevers. We just make sure that we cull them out after they've aged a little bit.
Also, the story is a great place for that. I don't know if you guys know, but I like breakfast a lot, and you wouldn't know that unless you follow the story. So.
Of course, everybody knows it's common, the giveaways, and then, just last week, and I I've seen this a bunch online where they say, hey, last comment wins the piece. Dude, I had 12,000 comments on there. You can go look at my Facebook.
It's not stopping.
So, yeah, and it's not stopping even right now. People are still commenting on it, but I saw that on there for years. Never even tried it. Then last week was the very first time that I did it, and it was just, yeah, so it was kind of cool.
Also, read the Rico's giveaway, isn't that?
I had a suggestion for her, is something to help me with gaining followers, was doing giveaways.
Right, absolutely. Yep.
Not everyone can afford it.
And interactive to where like you gotta, tag your friends to follow me, and you gotta give them a prerequisite, right?
Where at some point, my recent one was like, enter the giveaway, and also at some point during your day, do something nice for a stranger.
Yeah. Nice.
Like spreading that positivity, just getting people to do something that's not exactly just.
Be creative with your Instagram, just like you try to do with your artwork.
The other thing I was going to say too about Instagram is just kind of promoting your posts. Try and tag as many things as possible. So, for example, if you make a piece out of gold ruby, tag Molten Aura, and use the hashtags and try and incorporate as much as possible. If you're here at this convention center, you use the location, Westgate. And the more content you have, the broader reach it's going to have.
Make a glass penis.
I kind of want to go back to retail glassware relationship type stuff, but I've had, being 2 or 3 years in growing glass right now, my skills have changed quite a bit, and trying to get the most dollar for what I do, the prices haven't changed as dramatically. So going back and replacing stuff that's on the shelf that hasn't sold, what's your guys' thoughts on that?
That's huge. Even as a distributor, I will take the hurt. Like if I sold something a while ago and I really want that piece to sell in the store, I'll take it back. And no joke, sometimes 2 stores later.
2 stores, dude,
I want that.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, all right.
What's new to them, or what's old to them, is new to the shop that you're going to next week.
The piece isn't going away.
Trade it out, get new stuff in there, get it gone, sell it to the next store for super cheap, and just move on.
And don't do a restocking fee. Don't even do offensive people.
Be happy.
Just be happy and just absolutely.
Especially if you're up and coming and advancing your skills, it builds some relationship and some quality relationship with the shop. And we trust you basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was always trying to do.
Okay. We good?
Is that?
Was it good? You got one?
Is that with heady pieces too? Exchange those out?
What I think the head shops should come up with a heady revolving thing where they're taking pictures. There's got to be somebody. I've been talking about this shit for years. Nobody jumps on it, man. One of y'all needs to come up with a website where all the shop owners post their fucking 13-year-old headies that they did dusted off forever and shit, and they need to rotate throughout all the head shops in the USA.
I agree.
Straight up.
I've taken $600 to $800 pieces.
Been trying to let somebody do it. I just want to do it.
I $600 to $800 pieces the most I've taken back. But I mean it's respectful. I mean that shop loves you for it today.
Yeah, it shows.
That's huge.
If you're swapping out, are you swapping it for the same value piece?
Yes, same value piece. $300 wholesale. They paid $300. That's what they're getting. $300 in wholesale.
Unless your prices have dropped, I know for me, if I sold you all a piece for $15, but for whatever reason I dropped the buy price, to 13, then that's the trading value that I'm going to give on it. It's what my present value is.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's one piece for $300, we just swap it for just one piece at location.
No, whatever they want, spoons, chums.
Yeah, you can encourage the shop to order more too, $300. I'll give you a $300 credit on your order with me. Cool, all right, we're gonna get $500 worth of shit,
And bread and butter, that, honest to God, man, we like to make nice pieces and everything, but you want that shop to be feeling good about the money that they're making off of your product.
When you talk about bread and butter, is that a price point?
Yeah, I would say, you know better than I do, but for dry pieces, $50 and below.
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen that go up to 80 recently. Dry pieces are 80 and waters at like 225, and it's got to be worth it.
yeah, bread and butter.
Wholesale. Yeah, I've seen a lot of my, honestly, like a lot of my headier hand pipes have been crushing it lately, but they gotta be fully worked. I mean, they have to be nice, but people are spending that $100 to $200 on a sick hand pipe that they want. Like people are, you know, they're doing that.
All right. See you guys in 15 minutes. Yeah.
We're doing another talk. Yeah, we're doing another talk. Demonstration for the shops in like 20 minutes. So
Hey, thank y'all so much for coming out. Honestly, if we had talked to an empty room, it would have really sucked.